All right, people, I've always had a dream of sitting on some subwoofers while opening a video, ever since I started making these videos in 2014. On a serious note today, though, we are going to dig into sort of the next level of subwoofers. Again, specifically, we're talking about the garage. These could obviously be for your home theater, for your stereo system in the home, but these are the SVS subs, and I think the reason I feel like I'm qualified to help you think through this decision, there are many videos online. You can watch the specs, you can watch reviewers talk about it, you can listen to a lot of people who've listened to a lot of speakers talk about their subwoofers. I don't know if anybody's done this kind of comparative shootout stuff. Maybe they have, but what you're subscribing to here is my take. And I'm a bit of an oddball, and so I'm hoping that I can provide you maybe something that you wouldn't have found watching some other videos. And so today I'm putting together I guess a brief synopsis of the 2000 series versus 3000. I just listened to the 1000 versus 2000 and kind of came to the conclusion that that one was pretty simple, and that more money, more size meant better. Right, so the SB-2000 was my choice. The PB-2000 was my choice. If you can spend the money and you can fit the size. So we're going to play here the differences between, and I'm going to give you my take on the differences between SB-2000, SB-3000, PB-2000, PB-3000. I took the grill off the front just so you can see it. So we're talking 12-inch woofers versus 13-inch woofers, 550 watts in sealed and ported versus 800 watts of sealed and ported. And I have already listened to these a little bit, but I'm gonna have a little bit less of a conclusion than I did. I'd already done all the work on the 1000 versus 2000, so I already knew what I was going to say before the video. This one, the video might be a little longer because I really don't know which one I'm going to choose out of these. So let's take a look at the system I'm going to be demoing here and talking about sort of the level of speaker and amplifier I would probably categorize these subwoofers or pair these subwoofers with, and then we'll start digging into the subs and the differences and all that stuff. All right, so this is the Blue Sound Node. I'm not using this, but this would be not for these speakers, but for this particular case, we'll get the node out of the way so it doesn't confuse you. We have a source component, a digital analog converter. This is a hybrid digital DAC from NAD. This is called the C388, which is rated at 150 watts per channel. This is Class D amplification. There's no Dirac tuning or no calibration or anything here, so I'm not doing anything outside of just right out of the box, flat bass and treble, and then just having the subwoofer set to 80 hertz. So the sub is playing low pass, 80 hertz down. The speakers, these are Dynaudio Evokes, are going to play 80 hertz up. Pretty simple setup. I would probably tune it a little bit differently if I was, permanently setting the system up, but because these Dynaudios will play, comfortably down to 50 hertz. So maybe I would do some A/B comparison and tweaking. But just for this simple test, 80 hertz down subwoofer, 80 hertz up to 22,000 hertz or 20,000 hertz, the Dynaudio speakers. So this guy here is a couple grand. These speakers are a couple grand. It's a single 6-inch woofer and single 1-inch tweeter. I think these are $2,400 a pair, something like that. This is the white version. The reason why I got these out, these are actually going in the rear of my home theater at my house. But I'm telling you, I had these in my Harbor Hills, my last house, set up on a slightly more powerful amplifier than the C388. I had it on the M33 NAD, and it was just incredible. So if you're at this level and you have a garage like this, I would assume you'd have a garage kind of like this, where you had an oversized garage and you wanted some decent speakers. Speakers in general in the garage is not a great listening environment. I get that, but maybe we're losing some of the quality of the equipment here. But I found that I can audibly hear the difference. I sat here in A-bead speakers. When I was testing the 1000, 2000 back to back. I was using a $500 pair of speakers on a $2,500 pair of speakers. And I just think that if I was at this level of a system, I would start considering spending, $1,600 on a PB-3000. I'd start considering buying a more expensive subwoofer. I'd at least put it into the realm of possibility. And so now we're talking about, when we were doing the 1000, 2000, we're talking about sub $2,000 systems. Now we're talking about sub $5,000 system. So I think that does open up for somebody who has a really big garage, you like bass, or if you're looking for you could put this stereo system in your house, or if you're in the home theater realm, what's Matt's take on the 2000 versus 3000? So because these are so heavy, I'm not going to pick them up and put them on the bench. So we'll kind of turn them around here and talk to you about show you what the amplifier looks like. But this system's super, super simple. I got a pair of, I really like this speaker wire. The SVS speaker wire is pretty nice too. I like this a little bit more. This is Velux from Metra. We actually have this in the store. And then so I have a pair of Velux. And then I do have the subwoofer cable is from SVS. I'll be making a separate wireless video. SVS actually has their SoundPath wireless. I'm really just waiting on their tri-band wireless so I can make that video. I want to take the subwoofer outside and see how far I can go with it and have it still get a signal. But this one I think is $100 and the tri-band's $150 or something like that. And you can run multiples of these, have a single receiver and multiple transmitters. But we'll talk about doing wireless in the future. But right now I just have a simple closed wired system here that I'm wirelessly connected via AirPlay to this device. Because of copyright-free music, I'm not going to be listening to 192 kilohertz, 24-bit, high-res audio. I'm just connected AirPlay to just some WAV files that I have that are copyright-free that we can kind of A/B back and forth. So if you take a look at the back, if you haven't watched the other video, the 2000, I dug in pretty deeply. We actually took the woofer out so the woofer's the same on the ported versus the sealed. The amplifier is the same as well. So this is what they call their Sledge 550D. So it's a Class D amplifier that does 550 watts per channel, average or RMS. I think they rated it 1500 peak. The peak I don't think really matters all that much. I'm just more interested in how does the thing sound in the real world. But when you're shopping, you're looking at specs. And so SVS keeps it really simple. The more money you spend, the more wattage you get, or more current or power you get. The more money you spend, generally the bigger the box, the bigger the subwoofer, the bigger the driver. So on the back of the Sledge 550, there is, we're going to use a single LFE input. There's some adjustment controls. I find these unnecessary to use because the app, the SVS app, you'll download it, is so darn good. It connects to the subwoofer in a millisecond. I have all these 20-something subwoofers in here, and I was able to switch back and forth subwoofers seamlessly without any issues of it syncing or connecting or anything like that. So I'm not going to mess with phase, I'm not going to mess with the low-pass filter or any of that stuff, because we'll do it in the amplifier. The Sledge 550 amp has a normal 3-prong plug, and then has your on-off switch. So let's take a look. Let me lift this guy up and try not to kill myself. Let me lift up the big boy here and put it on the PB-3000. So the first thing you'll notice on the 3000 is the grill. So this comes with metal grill versus plastic grill. I don't know if that's a good, bad, it's an aesthetic thing, but this is an aluminum. Feels like aluminum. Feel a little heavier than that. Maybe this isn't aluminum. This is probably just powder-coated steel. But this is a much more solid grill. One good thing about all the SVS subs, they understand bass. They do make some bookshelf speakers and things like that, what I'll be playing with in the future. Some floor standings and some surrounds and things like that. But they understand that you don't want your grill vibrating. The grommets that they use are super stout. Their grills go on nicely. I've had subwoofers in the past with the grill vibrating or popping off or just wasn't really well done. You can pull them off and put them on 100 times and it just doesn't seem to affect it. But the fabric regular grill versus the metal grill, I think it's more of just an aesthetic to kind of differentiate. I'm sure this costs a lot more, so we're into the $1,100 to $1,600 subs. We're getting into the more expensive realm. Then they're putting a little nicer touch, I guess, on it. Let's pick up the 3000 and put it on the 3000 ported. This version of the amplifier, I notice it says SB-3000, but then Sledge STA 800D Series 2. I'm assuming that means that they made this is a second version of it, but it's still a Class D amplifier, single LFE input. So all of your inputs, outputs look the same. The amplifier's footprint actually looks pretty similar as well. If you look on the site and you look at some of the pictures of the subwoofer, you'll see, or some of the amplifier, you'll see there's some additional capacitors, and I think there's a few other differences in circuitry from amplifier to amplifier. But I think the biggest difference between the two is size, weight, and then woofer. So the rubber surround, the 13-inch woofer, it's of the same ilk or the same series. If you look at the photos, the same double stack magnet, similar voice coil size, similar construction, just an extra inch of air. So an extra 250 watts of power, an extra inch of subwoofer size or diameter, so it's going to move some more air, plus larger cabinet, which would mean more amplitude theoretically. So let's play the 2000, and then we'll play we'll start with the SB, and then we'll go to the PB, and we'll talk about what I'm hearing there. Sealed versus ported, and then let's swap over to the 3000 series, and then you'll do the same thing. Now, just for price comparison, as you're thinking about this, the 2000 series is, so you're $899, so $900 and $1,100, and then the 3000 series. The 3000's $1,100 for the sealed and $1,600 for the ported. And so you have an identical pricing, and this is where most people want to know what's the difference here, which one should they get. The SB-3000 with a bigger woofer, bigger amplifier, sealed box costs the same as the SB-2000, 1-inch smaller woofer, ported enclosure. So that's going to be the big question here is, can we get away with, would we rather have the bigger, better speaker in a smaller box? So I think we're going to sort of A/B this here, and I'll give you my thoughts. So as soon as you buy your subwoofer, before you get it, just go download the app right now. Let me grab my phone. Coolest part, I'm telling you, they spent a lot of money and made this app awesome. Just a simple SVS app. A Hurdy shows up. I just plugged it in 30 seconds ago. Boom. So run this at -10 like I was running it the other day. And we'll make sure that we have the low pass filters turned on. The low pass filter's on. And we're at 80 hertz. Simple. First thing I'll say is these freaking Dynaudio speakers are insane. They're so smooth, so great. They look good, sound good. It's a very neutral, very simple speaker, simple sounding, but it's just right up my alley. In a garage where we have metal cabinets, I've got a metal car, I've got concrete floors, and a little drywall, but we don't have a lot of acoustic virtually no acoustic absorption in here. It's just so smooth, so good. Can't tell you how much I like it.
I can't stop thinking about you. That my heart starts beating when I'm with you is true.
That's funny. There's like a little digitization there in this whatever EDM track that I didn't hear when I was listening to the PSBs over and over, that I'm able to hear in the Dynaudios.
You took me by surprise when you caught my eye, like we never fight about who was right, but night we start fighting again and again.
I couldn't imagine, those of you who haven't done audio and you've trusted me and bought this stuff, what this must blow your face off. It's so good. I'm shaking my under cabinet lighting connections loose. All right, so let's swap to the 2000 ported. So what I'm hearing with what I'm hearing with all of the sealed subs, especially in this big garage like this and where I have it positioned, I'm hearing quite a bit more directionality. I can tell the subwoofers there. And what I've heard when I listen to the 2000s back to back, the ported version, is more amplitude, but it's the same woofer. The cool thing about the SVS ported versus sealed, I don't hear any like tonal difference. Now, again, we're talking about 80 hertz and below, but I don't feel or hear like a boominess or a tone difference. I'm detecting just less directionality, more fill. So let's hook up the 2000 and let's play that one. What I'm really interested in here, because I have spent quite a bit of time with the 2000s, was when I stick the 3000s in place to be able to compare. Now remember, in the garage, I'm not critically listening. I'm generally background listening. So this is a rarity to sit down here and take time to listen. So in other companies or brands, not too many companies make a identical sealed versus ported subwoofer. SVS just, they're the standard in this game. There are many new companies that are up and coming, but not too many of them make identical woofers, sealed and ported, that and then priced accordingly. But the cool thing about the SVS stuff is that, again, the sound signature is the same. It sounds, the 1000 sounds different than the 2000, but the 1000 ported and sealed sound very similar. But I'm at the same amplifier, same subwoofer, same volume, and if you were in the room, I'm telling you, it's just considerable difference. The bass feels like it's across this whole wall. So I've got bass across the whole wall, it seems. Like if I were to close my eyes and I didn't know the subwoofer was right there, I think most people would be able to kind of close their eyes and point to the sealed, versus the ported. It just, in this big room, it just does a better job. is a remarkable difference between, I can still hear, because I listen to the 1000 so much. Like if you're going to gum up to the level of speakers like these Dynaudios, like you were doing the Evoke 10s, or if you're doing emits even, I think you want the 2000. I think if you can swing it, I would rather have an SB-2000 over the PB-1000. So even though I like the ported speaker so much, you know, now clearly in my setup here in my garage, even if I jam this up against the wall, this isn't going to fit here, right? This isn't going to work. Like the door's there, the door's going to be hitting it, it's poking out past my cabinet. So in this case, in this garage, I'm going to buy the SB, the sealed version. But if you have the room, if you have the money, buy this. You know, and so I think, but the question I need to answer now is, would I rather have an SB-2000? Let's see, would I rather have an SB-2000 ported over a SB-3000 sealed, because they're the exact same price? So let's just see what I'm hearing here. Now I get all this I'm talking about is all very subjective. Well, somebody's got to decide.
About you, let my heart stop beating when I'm with you, 'cause I can't help but feel this way. You know I tried to hide from you, but I know it didn't matter what I do in my heart, I knew.
So first thing, Chris, can you get this? I'm running the SB-3000 at minus 15 dB versus minus 10. If I go to minus 10, this bigger amplifier, bigger subwoofer has considerably more output. Now the 1000 versus 2000, I was running them all at minus 10, so they were running similar amplitude, similar output. But when you jump up to this 3000, if you have a really big area, this is a lot more bass. So again, in my case, I can already tell right now that I don't have the space in this garage for the, you know, so if I don't have the space, but I had the money, you know, the money's the same. So if I had the space, I think I'm still going to pick the sealed in this case. I just think it sounds better. How about this? How about if I need more amplitude, if I need more bass, I'm going to the 3000. If I don't need as much bass, because I have much more headroom, I'm running as a minus 15, and I was running that at minus 10. I just bumped it up to minus 10, and that 3000 has started to destroy the room. So the one plus to the PB, the ported 2000, is the size, if you will, what it feels like size-wise and directionality. But amplitude, the amount of output I'm getting from the 3000 can, I think, overcome that. And the fact that it's tiny, a tiny little box, it's, yeah, for my 1100 bucks, I'm picking the 3000. I think we need to do an A-B of the 3000 versus the 2000 sealed. It's a big boy. So that was a good question Chris just had. You could run any of these subwoofers off of a, you know, with the studio monitors, like they have their own amplifier. So we can, there's that NAD is not amplifying this at all. It's just amplifying the bookshelf speakers. So if you have some powered speakers like, you know, AM5s or ZO10s or ZO20s, if you had some speakers that were powered, you could still connect it to one of these subwoofers. So this subwoofer is 22 inches tall, 18.3 inches wide, and 26 inches deep. So even like the MSS Plus cabinets are 25 inches deep. So now we generally have them poke off the wall about 28. So if you were doing some MSS Plus or something, or you had some room where you could put the subwoofer, you could do one of these big ones. But I just think that the thing that disqualifies the PB-3000, it's clearly the best of the three. It's $1,600, or the best of the four, clearly, because now it gains the output and amplitude of the SB-3000, but fills the room better. But it's just so big, it's huge. It's 1 inch wider, but it's 2.4 inches deeper. No, 2.4 inches deeper. Size, money, you buy that. I just think that this is going to be so rarely subscribed to in most, even in your home theater. I mean, I couldn't fit that in my home theater. It's too big. In my home theater is just in the family room. I think I would rather have this guy. You know, I'd rather have the sealed. So, man, this is throwing me a loop for back to my previous video where I was pretty adamant that the ported sounds so much better, but I really wasn't paying attention to the fact that the thing's sticking, this one's sticking 5 inches out from my cabinet. You can see my, Dyne Audio subwoofer there is just a little bit taller, but it's the same width and depth as the SB-2000, because it's a sealed enclosure as well. And a lot of people are going to be hard pressed. I mean, that Dyne Audio subwoofer is a $4,000 subwoofer. I mean, we're talking, $1,100 or $900 for that sealed subwoofer. So I think it's not as clear. When you're dealing with the 1000 series, the 1000 ported is not much bigger than this. So the 1000 ported fits, next to most cabinets nicely. I'm going to stick the 2000 on top of the 3000 and just try to do a quick comparison. All I have to say is these speakers are stealing the show. Screw the subwoofers. These, incredible. Look at that thing, it's so good. Yeah. All right, 2000. So all of us, almost all of us, money is a consideration. If money's not a consideration, you buy that subwoofer right there. Dyne Audio Core sub. That's the subwoofer you buy. In this case, so with SVS in general, you can just size and money. If you have the size capability, the room, and you have the money, just keep going. Just go all the way to the SB-16. The thing in the garage, I think you're going to want to stay with this veneered finish. You don't want to do the shiny stuff. Shiny stuff is going to get scratched to crap, so if you can avoid that. And same thing in your home theater. I mean, although the shiny looks pretty, every time you touch it, you breathe on it. It's like worse than black paint. It's like a black lacquer. So in this particular test, I think, with my Dyne Audio Evokes, if I'm buying Evokes, I'm probably just going to pony up the extra couple $100. I'm going to get the sealed 3000. The porteds in a big old garage, if you can fit them, do them. But let's just exclude that for this argument. That's a simple decision to make. If you have a lot of room, do ported. Just do it. If you have a home theater and you have the room, do ported. Especially in the SVS realm, you're not really giving up anything. You're not gaining anything by staying sealed other than size. The porteds, I think, sound the same tightness, just more amplitude. So I'm getting more more output or more spatial output, if that's even a thing. I'm just making up words as we go on here. So in the garage, so in the garage where I'm space constrained, in my home theater where I'm space constrained, I just think I think you'll be fine with the 2000. What I'd rather see you do is get the 2000, SB-2000, and get two of them. Get one now, maybe get another one later. So I'd rather have two of those than one of those. Now we're also talking, $800-900 more. So $1,800 versus $1,100. So for $700 more, I can have two subwoofers in the future. So I hope that's helpful for you. Size and money, go ported. Spend as much money as you got. Go as big as you can fit. Go ported. Step two, if that's not an option, comes down to to money. I think it's worth every penny to go from the 1000 to the 2000. I don't think it's worth every penny to go from the 2000 to the 3000. I think the 2000 is the sweet spot in this particular instance. I think even in a decently priced home theater, I think even in the garage here, I think the 2000 is the way to go. I mean, I would probably personally pony up the money and get the 3000. But you got to draw the line somewhere when you're building your system, especially for many of you for the garage. I'm getting this stuff and making money off of it. You're not. So I'm buying this and selling it. And buying it at a wholesale discount, and you're buying it retail, and you're not able to make a profit off this. This is more about how you value enjoyment and time in the garage. So I think that the 2000 is a really strong contender, and I think the 2000 is probably going to want the one that we would put in packages and things like that in the future with bookshelf speakers like this setup here. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. It is super. You can get SVS subwoofers at a bunch of different places. It is super helpful if you get it from me. It helps me do these kind of things. I know many of you doesn't really register with you to honor the source or support. I'm probably not the source of your SVS knowledge. But if you've found some value in what it is I'm doing here, and you're interested in doing some audio in the garage, the home theater, hit me up, matt@obsessedgarage.com. My guys are really well versed as well on the tech support team, support@obsessedgarage.com. We're happy to help you out, happy to help you think through and design a system for your garage. But I think out of this test, and actually out of the test from last week, I think that the value here in the SVS line is that SB-2000. There's a big difference in the woofer design of this series subwoofer, the 2000 versus the 1000, and there isn't a huge difference in the extra 1-inch driver on the 3000 series. So I'd highly consider this guy for your system, and we should have them in stock if depending on when you're watching this video soon, or in stock in general. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Never felt this way. Never thought happy endings was something I could believe. I'd leave love for my dreaming, 'cause I don't want my heart to bleed. So tell me